Alrighty. Hi, how's it going? We are outside today. One, wanted to take advantage of the last few nice days where I can come outside in a t-shirt in November. Second, my room is very messy, so I didn't want to film in my room. My name is Charlie, and today I'm going to show you some of my favorite lunch foods. I get a lot of requests to do what I eat in a day videos like I used to make, but I don't feel comfortable making them anymore. Instead, I'm just going to show you some of my favorite meals, kind of like recipes. I don't do measurements, as you may know. I'm in eating disorder recovery, so I don't measure anything, and I'm not going to give you measurements, but if you're interested, I'm sure there are hundreds of recipes out there on the internet that you can use measurements for that are very similar to what I have. I like to learn how much of each ingredient I want by tasting it. Today, I'm just going to go through 5 different lunches that I like to make. This was all filmed about a month ago, so here is my favorite lunch foods. The first lunch that I'm going to be showing is probably my favorite and the one that I eat the most. Vegetarian ranch chicken wrap, and it's super tasty and really easy. So this is how I make probably my favorite lunch of all time. Hello. I'm going to make one of my favorite lunches ever. I'm going to show you how I make it. I make my own ranch dressing, which is really fun. I feel like it's fairly easy to make. First, I need a big tortilla. Then I've got some greens. There's not enough in here. I also have just some regular lettuce. This is just a bunch of vegetables, but I'm going to use the tomato and some of the red onion. I also have a can of chickpeas, and we usually have the Gardein chicken tenders, which are my favorite. I love them so much, but there weren't any at the store this time when my mom went, so she got these turkey cutlets. They're like a breaded turkey, but they taste just like the chicken nuggets, except they're big. Yeah, so it's just like that. For the sauce, I'm gonna show you all of the ingredients later, but I'm gonna use Viennese as my base. I also will sometimes use yogurt or regular mayo, just depending on what we have, but my mom just bought some Viennese, so I'm gonna use this. So I preheated the oven to 375, and I'm just gonna throw my turkey patty in the oven. By the time it's cooked, everything else will be ready. Sometimes I cook my chickpeas, but I usually don't, just because I'm kind of lazy. I'm just gonna rinse them and call it a day. So something that's really good, I feel like, about wraps like this with like a ranch dressing or salad dressing of your choice, is that it's super customizable to whatever you have available in your fridge. So for example, if I didn't have a like fake meat substitute, I could still do this and make it super tasty with chickpeas, especially if I cooked them ahead of time. If you're somebody who eats meat, you could totally put your favorite type of like chicken or turkey or whatever in here. Let's see if I can make it so you can see me and the counter. Okay, that works. So for the dressing, this is what you're gonna need. Something creamy or oily. I like Viennese or like a yogurt of some kind. We also have a vinegar. I have apple cider vinegar. Got salt, garlic or garlic powder, either or. I'm gonna do about half a lemon. If you're making a ranch dressing, the key ingredient is dill. My mom happened to just buy dill because I make this salad dressing so much, but if you don't have dill or you don't want to buy fresh herb, you can also buy it dried, which I think these cost the same, and this is gonna last you for a really long time. Another tip for making a ranch dressing is you can also just use pickle juice, because if you have like dill pickles in the fridge or like relish or something, you can put a little bit of the pickling liquid in the dressing and it tastes perfect. But right now we only have homemade pickles, and all of our homemade pickles don't have dill because my mom doesn't like it. Don't have any pickle juice, otherwise I would use it. Let us make our dressing. As you can probably guess, I don't have measurements for this because I don't measure my food, but there are lots of recipes you can use online if you need an exact recipe to get going. Since I have enough ingredients to kind of play around, I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate, which is what I usually do since I've made this. This is a very old lemon. Since I've made this so many times in the past, I kind of have an idea of how much of each ingredient I need without knowing like the exact measurements, which is really helpful since I try not to use measuring cups. So I did about a quarter of the lemon. Don't need a lot of dill to really make it taste like ranch dressing. One thing that's great is if you don't have like a little blender or something and you use like the pickle juice or something or the dried dill, you don't have to blend it. You can just mix it really well. But I'm lazy, so I'm gonna blend mine. All right, so it's kind of runny. I mean, it smells like ranch, but I think I'm gonna add more of the Viennese, and I actually think I'm going to add some chickpeas, kind of thicken it up a bit. And now we blend again. So it's much thicker now, which is good. And the chickpeas blended nicely. There's a few chunks of chickpeas, but since I'm gonna have chickpeas in my wrap anyways, it's not a big deal. But if you're making this and you're just gonna dip like vegetables in it, you might wanna think about that. Favorite way to test is to just get some carrots. It tastes like ranch. So I added a little bit more garlic. My ranch is done. So my turkey patty is still in the oven, but I'm gonna kind of assemble some parts of this. I'm gonna throw down my vegetables. And I kind of do like 2 layers of greens. So I'm gonna do this layer first, and then I'm gonna add like the turkey patty, and then I'll add a little bit more on top. If I add all of it in one place, then I like sometimes my bite is like just lettuce, and I don't want that. I'm gonna add just a little bit of chickpeas because they tend to fall out, but I do really like them. So now we wait for the turkey. Oh, I forgot my extra lettuce. Okay, oh, it ripped, oh no. So here's my final thing. It's got a little rip in it. But my plate looks very bad because you can't see everything. So I'm gonna try to cut it in half and get like a cross section. I don't think it's gonna work, it might fall apart, but we're gonna give it a shot. Okay, I'm back over here. Okay, that looks pretty tasty to me. Check that out. Next lunch that I'm going to show you is another favorite of mine that I don't make very often anymore. It's one that I used to a lot, but I think I made it so many times that I kind of got tired of it. This is kind of like an Asian-inspired stir-fry kind of lunch. Totally mix and match depending on what vegetables you have, what protein you like. So this is one of my favorite lunches. It's kind of like a bowl of sorts. All right, so you might recognize this clip from one of my recent vlogs, but I digress. For my stir fry, I cut up some tofu, some bell pepper, and some mushrooms, and I sauteed them in a pan with olive oil. We had some leftover rice noodles from when my mom made pad thai the night before, so I put them into a bowl to microwave later. I cooked the tofu and veggies over medium-low heat, and usually this is when I would season them. I did a little bit with some salt, some pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder, but I didn't go too crazy. I also cut up some avocado and green onion, and I didn't season them very much because I was adding some peanut sauce that was already pretty salty and heavily seasoned that we had made earlier in the week. I'll leave a link below to a peanut sauce recipe that I like, but remember, I don't use measurements, so take that for what you will. I added some avocado, green onion, and sesame seeds on top, and it was tasty. Hi, Editing Char here. I just wanted to point out that I just recently learned about chopsticks sticking out of a bowl being a disrespectful thing. So I just wanted to apologize for that. That was something that I learned actually just within the last week when I was watching a YouTube video breaking down the new live-action Mulan movie. I'll link that video in the description because I really enjoyed watching that video, and this video was filmed like a month ago. So since then, I have been very cautious about how I place my chopsticks in my bowl, especially if I'm taking a photo. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and teach you that, if you didn't know, putting chopsticks sticking out of a bowl is a disrespectful thing. If you want to learn more about it, you can check the video in the description. But carrying on. Hello, Tally. Would you like to say hi to the video? My cat came to say hello. This is Tally. Oh, do you see something? Go get it. Please do not knock over my camera. I'll be very unhappy. So this next lunch that I'm going to show you, you've probably already seen and saw the recipe of in a video of mine previously because I make this all the time. It is a chickpea salad sandwich. Sometimes I do it as a wrap, sometimes I just do it on some lettuce if we don't have any bread, but as a sandwich is my favorite way to have it. You can totally do this with chicken, another like veggie chicken if you want, but I personally can't get enough of chickpeas. I love them so much, so I make it with chickpea. Here is my chickpea salad sandwich. I'm gonna make some lunch, just show you what I'm making. I'm gonna make a chickpea salad sandwich, which is one of my go-to meals.
I think this lunch is probably the most straightforward out of all of them. I just took some canned chickpeas that were already rinsed and mashed them up with some mayo of choice. You can leave some chunks or you can leave them a little more mashed, whatever you like. I added in some pecans and some golden raisins and salt and pepper. You could totally mix this up with other types of nuts or other types of raisins if you want, or you could do apple or grapes or something, but I really like this combo. I had some toasted bread with some more mayo, some kale that I washed and stemmed, and just assembled it all together. And it's so quick, so tasty. Sometimes you can make extra, leave it in the fridge. Highly recommend.
As you can probably see, I eat a lot of chickpeas and Gardein chicken tenders. Gardein chicken tenders are probably one of my favorite things to eat ever. I love them so much. This is a salad that I like to make. I don't make salads that often. Around this time that I was making a lot of salads kind of stuff for lunch, it was because it was super hot and I didn't want to cook really. This is one of my favorite salads. It's got apple and chicken. You could totally use actual chicken. You could totally use a different kind of vegetarian chicken or chickpeas, whatever you like. It'd be really good with cheese if you're someone who likes to eat cheese. One of my favorite salads. I'm gonna make a salad and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna make my salad. We've got some kale, we've got some spinach, chicken, of course. This is the Gardein crispy tenders, my favorite. I have some red onion, apple. Look at this huge apple. That's crazy. And some nuts of choice. I learned this when I used to volunteer in a kitchen. This is how you strip kale. Ready? Done.
So it wasn't until editing this that I realized the awful hum in the background noise is the fans, because I'm pretty sure this day I was recording was like 105 degrees, but I just ripped up my kale and put it on my plate and mixed in some of the mixed spinach greens from before. I really like to mix my greens because I don't personally want a whole kale salad usually.
Because I'm lazy and it's super hot, I'm gonna microwave my chicken and then crisp it up in the pan because turning on the oven is just gonna heat up the house. So microwave this. Microwaving this first means that it doesn't burn on the outside, because if it's still cold in the middle and then it gets too hot on the outside, it's not good and it'll just burn. So I'm gonna heat these up in the pan back there with a little oil in it. With my apple, I'm only gonna use like maybe a fifth of this because it's a huge apple, and then I'm gonna save the rest for a snack later, probably with some peanut butter or something. That is all the apple that's left. Pretty much filled the container. And that's how much apple I put on the salad. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just enough for me. And then this is gonna go to the deer.
I added some salted roasted pecans, some pepper, and some olive oil to taste. You can add salt, but my nuts were salted.
And we have some balsamic vinegar. My grandma gave us this one. She bought a bottle that was too big. And it's very good. That is my salad. And it's going to be very tasty. I'm gonna go eat this now. And last but not least, I wanted to just give a brief honorable mention to one of the best lunchtime foods of all time. Mac and cheese. I have some mac and cheese Gardein chicken. I eat so much Gardein chicken. I really love sauteed kale. Both me and my boyfriend are kind of obsessed with sauteed kale, so I make it quite a bit even when he's not around, just because it's so tasty. This was my lunch that I had with some mac and cheese. Hello, I forgot that I was doing recipes for lunch, and this is a good one, so I decided to film it, but I've already started cooking, so I'll just fill you in. I have some chicken tenders in the oven. I've got some noodles boiling for my Annie's mac and cheese. I have the non-dairy one. And I have some kale that's sauteing in some olive oil in the pan with some salt and pepper. And I'm gonna add some garlic powder right now. I'm just gonna add a splash of some soy milk into my mac and cheese. And those are most of my go-to lunches. If I am having a really hard time getting myself to pick something out to eat or have a hard time thinking of what sounds good for lunch, another favorite of mine is toast with butter and jam. It is so tasty, it always sounds good to me. Another one is bagels. My sister likes to make homemade bagels, and it is really nice when they're around the house because it makes deciding what to eat for lunch really easy as well. More often than not for lunch, I like to just eat leftovers from what we had from dinner the night before. I don't really really prescribe to the idea that certain foods are for certain times of day. Sometimes I'll have breakfast for lunch, sometimes I'll have leftovers from dinner for lunch, sometimes I'll have a slice of cake for lunch. It just depends on what my body is feeling, but these are some of my favorite lunches and the recipes that go with them. I hope that you understand why I don't do what I eat in a day videos anymore. They just don't make me feel good, and I don't think that the comparison is all that great for people watching as well. I'm still gonna keep all of my old ones up, but you just aren't gonna see any new ones. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and got some food inspiration, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!